Get ready for The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's dedicated update show. Events, businesses, and people. Anything and anyone causing a ripple in the community. And now, let's dive in to The Splash Live.
Good morning and welcome to The Splash Live. I'm Tyler Kieft. This is your live daily news and talk show all about Greater West Bloomfield and Oakland County. Also joining me today, as she has all throughout this week, our newest member of the team, Dayan Chaaban. Dayan, good Wednesday morning to you.
Good Wednesday morning to you and everybody watching us.
Yeah, glad to have you with us. Plenty to get to on today's edition of The Splash Live. We got a lot of news making headlines this morning. During the construction on Orchard Lake Road and Commerce Road, Kego Harbor restaurants remain open. We'll talk a little bit about some of those restaurants that are available and open for business all throughout this construction zone later on this morning. The Oakland County Health Division is contact tracing after swine flu was detected in pigs at last week's Oakland County Fair. Then smoke detectors were credited over the weekend for saving a family in a fire at their home just off of Orchard Lake Road. Dave DeBoer, the Deputy Fire Marshal for West Bloomfield Township, will join us later on to talk about that. Oakland County, as we talk about construction in our communities, Oakland County's traffic fatality rates actually coming in, those numbers lower than they are in most other areas of the state and nationally. Plus, Craig Bryson will join us from the Road Commission for Oakland County. We'll talk about those low traffic fatality rates as well as the latest on the Orchard Lake Road and Commerce Road construction projects. Then, volunteer opportunities at the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show, how you can get involved with the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. It's Wednesday night. Marshbank Music returns at Marshbank Park this evening. We'll preview that concert and all the fun happening at that event. Another concert later on this week, the Sil Sunsets concert series happens on Thursday. Christian and Jenny Mikey from Sylvan Lake will join us to talk about that and a really nice story about their MC, Christian. Oxford High School shooter is likely to face up to life in prison following a court hearing yesterday. We'll get the details on that, and then we'll preview some fun to finish off the show at the end of the program today. The Kego Harbor Block Party coming back on Friday. All those headlines and more coming up. But first, let's get to your weather forecast. Dayan, what's it going to look like outside today?
So we have a beautiful sunny weather today. We have a beautiful sunny morning today, Tyler. With the highs for today, we got a highs of 83 and lows of 59. And then for Thursday morning, highs of 81 and lows of 62. And Friday, highs of 77 and lows of 59 with chances of rain on both Thursdays and Fridays. So it's going to be raining a little bit, but it's definitely going to be a beautiful, beautiful week. End of the week too. I hope you
plenty of sunshine today, Dayan, and plenty of sunshine today, Dayan. A great opportunity for people to get back outside as they enjoy this hump day here in Greater West Bloomfield. We've got a packed show for you, so we'll take a break, and on the other side, we'll get into the latest news and information from throughout the community. You're watching and listening to The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV. And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. I'm Tyler Kieft, along with Dayan Chaaban. Lots of news to get to on today's edition of the program. The biggest story in town continues to be Orchard Lake Road and Commerce Road. The traffic situation there continues to develop as the construction continues, expected to last all the way through Labor Day in the case of Orchard Lake Road. And with that being the case, not many detours in place. Middle Belt Road is one detour on one side to get back to Orchard Lake Road, and on the other side, you're going to have to go around the other parts of the community like Pontiac Trail to get around Commerce Road. That being the case, you saw up there just a moment ago, a temporary traffic control order is in place in Keego Harbor. Want to give you a reminder of that, as the big thing that the Keego Harbor Police Department, and we had Chief John Fitzgerald on with us last week, CivicCenterTV.com on our on-demand page to take a look at that interview. The big factor here is protecting those individual communities and those community roads, because they're not really built to be main roads like Orchard Lake is, or like Commerce Road or Cass Lake. And when you get these sort of traffic situations, people are stuck in congestion, especially during the morning and the afternoon rush. And in these cases, that can often lead people to take measures into their own hands, go off the beaten path and into these neighborhoods. That can create a dangerous situation. As I bring Dayan in, Dayan, these neighborhood roads are much different, of course, than the main roads on Orchard Lake and Commerce. And because of that, this temporary traffic order in place, really more than anything to protect the residents in those residential areas.
Of course, Tyler. So road closures are necessary when construction or maintenance work is being done. As I said earlier, this ensures the safety of both the residents and the workers involved in the project. And also, we also cannot forget that there may be kids playing there, and these roads, specifically residential roads, are not made for top speeds or for congestion. So it makes a lot of sense that they're closing it.
Yeah, and that is the exact reason. That's a really good point. They're not made for those higher speeds we get on the main roads, 45, 35 miles an hour. Those smaller streets, when you think about the inner city of Sylvan Lake and the inner city of Keego Harbor off of those main roads, very small roads, tight spaces, enough to get two cars. But when you're at those higher speeds, that can play a big factor in the overall safety of that road. Something else to consider during the Orchard Lake and Commerce Road construction is that these businesses throughout that Orchard Lake corridor, they are still open. They still need your business, and especially given all that we've gone through with the COVID-19 pandemic, these businesses still very much in need of your patronage each and every day. Let's begin with and go through a list of some of these businesses all along that corridor as you get through the detour on Middle Belt Road and you head back onto that one-way Orchard Lake Road as we currently have it. We'll start off in the prettiest little city in Michigan, Ellen's Bakery and Cafe. Calvin, if you can back up one picture there. There we go. We see it. They're open on Orchard Lake Road, just west of Middle Belt. That's right after you turn left, just down that street in a plaza right there. They're open 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sunday every single week. You can find them for great pastries, some coffee, a nice place to go in the morning when the sun is rising and you're starting your day to have a nice coffee and support a local business. Another place you can go later on in the day, maybe for lunch or even for dinner, maybe later on for some adult beverages. A couple of bars in Keego Harbor. Mary Donnelly's Public House, that is on the left side of Orchard Lake Road as you're driving toward Commerce on that one-way street. Open 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday, just after Cass Lake Road in Keego Harbor. You'll pass Cass Lake Road. It's right there on the left. You can't miss it. Down the street just before the bend, another great bar and grill in the Keego Harbor Community Brew House. Bar and Grill is open 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday and on Sundays, and then 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturday in the heart of the lakes. Another great place you can go is the Keego Harbor Jets. That's a little bit up the street from these bars. They are open. They have put this post on their social media all throughout this week. They want you to know they're open during construction, and you don't necessarily have to go to that business to help support that business. If you want to avoid the traffic, they will come to you. You can call them 248-682-3744. Then as you get closer to Commerce Road, you have the Early Bird Cafe, one of the favorites in the greater West Bloomfield community for a really nice breakfast. You can go in there on Orchard Lake, just south of Commerce Road, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sundays. And Dayan, we talked yesterday about the Pine Lake Market on the show, and Nick, the owner there, a really great post by Karen Meebrod on Facebook from Keego Harbor about that business, talking with the owner, Nick, We're going to try to get him on the show later on this week to get the local business perspective on how the construction projects here in Keego Harbor and Sylvan Lake are affecting them. But nonetheless, these small businesses are the heart of these communities. It's really important that while you're avoiding the traffic, you don't want to get stuck in all the congestion, you're still supporting these local businesses who often are owned by your friends, your family, and your neighbors.
Absolutely, I agree. We should support our community first, and a lot of these businesses, they're offering a lot of good stuff. So we should go. We should visit them. We should contribute to our community first.
Yeah, they make a big contribution to our community. They make our community vibrant. They help our community provide for what they need in their homes, whether it's food, whether it's other provisions and items that you need each and every day. And you know exactly where you're getting them from. You know the people behind them. That's the big thing. You're not just going in there to get a nice meal or to get some items you need for your home. You can also go in there and meet people in your community, get to know your neighbors right here in Keego Harbor, in Sylvan Lake, and in Orchard Lake affected by this construction. Dayan, we talked a lot over the last couple of weeks about the Oakland County Fair as that happened over about a 1 week period, but some not so great news coming out of there, some health concerns possibly if you did attend certain portions of the Oakland County Fair last week. Tell us about that, Dayan.
Yeah, so health officials are conducting a contract tracing after they found that multiple pigs at the Oakland County Fair tested positive for influenza A, or swine flu as people know it. So the infection was discovered on July 14th, which is only a week after the fair opened its gates on July 7th. The Oakland County Health Division is doing whatever they can. They engage in identifying and tracking potential exposures. So they also quarantined those pigs so nobody was able to get themselves exposed to those pigs that are infected. But anyway, we should put it out there that in case somebody is experiencing some flu symptoms, they should go ahead and get themselves checked just so they won't contract it to other people. So with the flu symptoms, with the swine flu, you have symptoms that are similar to seasonal flu, such as diarrhea, nausea, vomiting. So if you are experiencing anything and you have been in this fair, or you have been in, or you are in Oakland County, just visit your local health, your doctors. Just get yourself checked and make sure you don't contract this disease to anybody else.
And you can also contact the Oakland County Health Division by going to oakgov.com, Dayan, if you have any concerns or any questions about, what proximity do I need to have been in to maybe have been exposed to this. By all indications of the story, Dayan, and you mentioned this a little bit, it doesn't seem like the Oakland County Health Division is all too concerned about this swine flu having passed into any humans at this event, given that the pigs were not ever in contact with patrons or even with many of the handlers at the Oakland County Fair. Is that correct?
That is correct. Actually, it's not even. So what some doctors are saying, or health officials are saying, is that it's not a dead disease to people. It's only harmful to people with very compromised immunity. So that's why they should be careful. And with the tracing, so they're trying to trace individuals. They have not found anything yet, and it's kind of rare. So that's the positive news. It's very rare that these pigs will contract anything. But just in case, we don't want to contract it to people who are immunocompromised. And one thing we should also talk about is that sometimes those diseases, when they are transferred to humans, they get modified inside the human body and they get contracted in different ways. So they become more human diseases. Okay, so that's when it gets bad, and that's why they're trying to trace it before it gets out of hand.
You think about those times years ago, well over a decade ago, when we were concerned about swine flu outbreaks in human beings or avian flu outbreaks in human beings, kind of those concerns we had before coronavirus came in, maybe even contributed a little bit to the early spread of COVID-19. Perhaps this is not one of those cases so far. No indication that these animals have transmitted the swine flu, influenza A, onto human beings because they weren't in contact. And this is what's important to factor in here with this story, and that's what Dayan is saying here in this case. No current indication that this should be a big concern, but something to look out for if you did attend the Oakland County Fair, where they do take a number of safety measures with every single one of those events and those activities at that event, and letting the community know as soon as they can so that these issues can be mitigated before they become a problem in our community. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. On the other side, a home fire in West Bloomfield led to no injuries or deaths because the people in those homes took their safety measures seriously. Dave DeBoer will join us from the West Bloomfield Township Fire Department after this break. Stay tuned. You're watching and listening to the Splash Live.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Many people are feeling overwhelmed and struggling with mental wellness these days. So be kind to your mind. Give yourself permission to breathe. Share your feelings. You are not alone. Have hope. Talk to a Stay Well counselor for free confidential help 24/7 through the COVID-19 hotline.
Looking for a midweek meal? Keep the bag lunch at home this summer and enjoy street food in your neighborhood with Food Truck Tuesdays. Enjoy cuisine from around Michigan outside the WB Parks and Recreations Activity Center with a different vendor every Tuesday, like Monkey Business on July 25th. All summer, every Tuesday, Food Truck Tuesday. This community update from Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. I'm your host, Tyler Kieft, alongside Dayan Chaaban. A big story that broke earlier on in the week, and we talked about this earlier on in the week on the Splash Live. A fire over the weekend broke out at a home just off of Orchard Lake and Old Dominion in West Bloomfield Township. Everybody got out of that fire safe, that entire family, and one of the big credits for them getting out safely was that their smoke detectors were up to date, they worked, and they listened to them. Joining us now to talk about this fire and some of these safety measures you can take in your home is Deputy Fire Marshal for the West Bloomfield Township and Tri-City Fire Department, Dave DeBoer. Dave, thank you for being with us this morning.
It's my pleasure. Thanks, Tyler.
Glad to have you on. We know that this is a fairly recent fire that's happened over the weekend. It's currently under investigation, but are there any details, at least initially, that you can provide us on what happened on Sunday night and how some of these different safety measures that were taken factored into this being, in the end, a good story and not a story with a tragic end?
Yeah, a couple good things that came from it. Right now, it is under investigation. We're still trying to figure out exactly what the cause was. We know it started in the garage. And we know that there was smoke detectors at work and alerted people, and the fact that they were working gave those people enough notification, enough time to get out of the fire. It was a fast-moving fire that very quickly breached that door from the garage to the house. But the fact that they were able to get out and notify 911 and get our crews there quickly allowed us to extinguish that fire a little faster than what we otherwise would have, and it obviously got the people out safely. So right now, we don't know exactly what the cause is. It's going to take us a little bit of time. We've got to work through some issues on the investigation side, but we've also had a rash of fires here lately with the 4th of July holiday, and during that time period, we had a bunch of fires that are 100% preventable. So most of those fires involved fireworks that people had set off, and there was the canisters and the cardboard and the things that were left behind by that people are throwing into plastic trash bins without letting them cool overnight, without soaking them in water like you're supposed to. And then they put the garbage cans either near the house or even in the garage. So we had a number of garage fires and building fires because of that. So we want to remind people that, use those things the way they're intended and follow the directions for putting those out and let them sit for a while in case they do have a little ember in there glowing that can start that fire. Another fire we just recently had was somebody cooking with an outdoor cooking device, a propane driven device, inside their garage. We say this every year. We say it over and over again. Cooking inside your garage is a bad idea. It often leads to disaster. So thankfully that one did not get too far out of control and didn't go beyond the garage. But we want to remind people that cooking in your garage, the big problem with cooking in your garage is, one, your garage isn't designed for that, but two is people go inside, and that's what happened in this one. Is the person went back inside to cut up some vegetables or do some other food prep and totally forgot about their food that was out on this burner, and then realized it too late, and the fire was already going by the time they came back to the garage.
Dave, an interesting point that you made about that fire was that the family involved in that fire on Sunday night were able to contact the fire department very quickly, and your crews were then able to respond quickly. It helps that for context here, Orchard Lake Road and Dominion Road, that particular area where this fire occurred happens to be right down the street from a fire station. So that also may play a factor in that response time. But really that quick response time from the family getting in contact with emergency services, that's also a critical part in people being able to get crews out to their homes quickly, and if not save the home, then in these more severe cases, save individuals in those homes too.
Yes. Yep, the house we can replace. That somebody built that before, we can replace that. People are harder to replace. So we want people, we can't stress enough. Our guys are going to calls every day in homes and hearing smoke detectors chirp in the background and seeing smoke detectors that are older than 10 years old. Smoke detectors are the cheapest insurance you will ever buy. And you got to know that they're working. You got to have batteries in them if they're battery operated or they have battery backup. And so having those things there and able to alert you quickly, one, keeps the fire very small, two, gets us there faster, and three, gives you that ability to get out of that fire. Like I say, this fire in this garage breached the door from the garage to the house very, very quickly. Had that fire called to 911 and to our dispatchers been 2 minutes later, and that entire house would have been severely damaged. So there was still a lot of damage. It got up into the roof system, which makes it very, very tough to control without doing a lot of damage. But working smoke detectors and even working CO alarms. We don't talk enough about CO alarms, but we had 14 families last year alone in West Bloomfield saved by carbon monoxide detectors. So having working alarms in your home is key.
We'll bring it over to Dayan Chaaban now, who's got more information on and wants to discuss with you more about some of these safety measures that were taken in this case. Dayan, take this for us and go into some of those details with Deputy Fire Marshal DeBoer.
Yes, as we said, we were talking about this yesterday, Dave, Tyler, and I, about some very specific things that we should do regarding smoke detectors, like changing the battery every year and just making sure they are functioning. What other recommendations do you have or guidelines do you have to home or owners regarding smoking detectors?
Okay. Yeah, changing the batteries frequently. We like to say when you change your clocks, change your batteries for the ones that have batteries in them that need to be changed. They also make them nowadays with a sealed lithium-ion battery in them that lasts 10 years. And you don't have to do the batteries every year. You just buy the thing, and then 10 years from now, it'll beep at you and tell you that it needs to be replaced, and you just replace it. So it's a little more convenient. Doesn't go off in the middle of the night beeping at you. You got to go find a 9-volt at 2 in the morning. So that's another option. The biggest thing is replacing them every 10 years. Other than that, battery is replace them. And some people, there's a myth out there that that's just a sales pitch to sell more smoke alarms. It's not. There's a component inside of those that it's a little piece of radioactive material that it loses half of its life over 10 years. So its efficiency has dropped 50% in 10 years, and then it goes down from there. So will it still work? Probably still work, but is it going to be delayed? When does it stop working? All of those factors, we don't want to risk that. Again, smoke detectors are fairly cheap, and to put that in there and pay that, it's the cheapest thing. It's less than dinner out. and you can protect your whole family.
Absolutely, that's absolutely very important. Other things is, where do you think smoke detectors should be around the house? Like, where are the key areas that these smoke detectors should be located in?
Current code says that there should be one in every bedroom, one outside of the bedrooms, in the hallway outside of any bedrooms. That doesn't mean one outside of every single bedroom, but in that hallway space, and at least one on every floor. So you want to be able to know if you sleep on the second floor of your home, you want to know if there's a fire in the basement. You want to be able to have enough time to get out. Nowadays, they make ones that are even battery operated, that are interconnected. They can talk to each other through the Wi-Fi network through your home, and they can tell you if something's going on in the basement when you're upstairs sleeping. Because the big key is, will it wake you up? We've got lots and lots of studies that show if you can't hear that thing really loud in the room with you, you're not going to wake up to that noise, because we're so inundated by so many beeps and boops and little noises nowadays with all our electronic devices that people are a little slow to wake up at times. So having them in your bedroom where it'll wake you up in the middle of the night, that's where our fire deaths are in the United States. They're in homes, and are after 6 p.m. to before 6 a.m. Those hours are the dangerous times.
That's very interesting. See, I personally did not know that. One other thing that people do not even take care about is creating or building a safety plan for their family in case something ever happened. Now, how important is that, and how do you recommend they go about that?
It's extremely important because, again, we don't have much time. Studies have found, and we've done those studies even here in Oakland County, where we've built buildings and burned them for science. And we know with all the plastics in our home, the fires are burning faster. They're not burning hotter, but they are burning much faster. Just 35 years ago, you could survive in a home for 20 minutes in a room that there was a fire. Now it's less than 3 minutes. So you've got to be able to get out of that very, very quickly. So having a plan for that is the key. We're seeing a lot more residents in West Bloomfield that are aging in place and are seniors, and maybe they grew up without a smoke detector and they were able to get out of their house and had that time. But now that they're up in their 70s and 80s, maybe they don't move as fast as they used to. So they definitely need to have a plan to get out quickly, because they move slower. They need to have a plan. If you have a young family, you need to practice that plan often, and practice with your kids to have 2 ways out of every bedroom, 2 ways out of the house. And then most importantly, have a meeting place outside, whether that's a mailbox or the next door neighbor's front porch or wherever that is. The whole family has to know about it, because the first thing the fire department's going to ask when we get on scene is everybody out. If everybody's out, that makes our job much different. We're going to risk a lot to save a lot. And if somebody's left behind in that building, we're going to risk a lot of our firefighters to get to that person. So if somebody's in the backyard and the people out front don't know that that person got out, which has happened to us many, many times, we're going to put guys in danger looking for somebody that's not actually in the building. So it's very important that everybody get to that meeting place and knows where that meeting place is. And it's tough with little kids. When my kids were young, we had to practice it often, because little kids will change things in their minds. And one day they want it to be the tree, and the next day they want it to be the mailbox. And you got to remind them that, no, we're going to this one spot, so that everybody knows.
That's very interesting. And here's the thing: do you believe that public awareness and education regarding these safety plans are important? And why I ask is because me personally and my family, we never thought about like having a fire, so we do not think about all the negative stuff. Most people, and I know that a lot of people do not think about it either. Like they just watch it on the news. Oh, it's never going to happen to us, right?
Yep.
So how important do you think is public awareness regarding this issue? Like, it might happen to you, so you better be prepared.
It might. No matter how safe your home is, no matter how many safety precautions you take, there are things out of our control. There are devices. We're hearing a lot in the news about mobility devices with lithium-ion batteries that are catching on fire, and some of the new technology that's had some issues. So you can take all the safety precautions you want, but you've got things in your home that could start a fire all on their own, through no fault of your own. So you are at risk. You see a lot of people say, well, I have a newer home, so because I have a newer home, I'm less at risk. Well, that's not the case. You can have that fire no matter what. One of the things we're going to rule out in the fire that just happened over the weekend is, did the vehicle start the fire? You know, is some component in the vehicle that did it go bad and start the fire? So we've got to look at that a little closer and rule that out. So having that plan, thinking that you're not going to have the fire, statistically, the statistics are very low, but when you have that fire, if you have that fire, you have to have a plan. You know, we have a saying that many of us have heard, that you don't plan to fail, but sometimes you fail to plan. And when you fail to plan, then you have to make it up on the fly. And it's very, very difficult. It's very smoky. It's not like Hollywood fires. Your visibility goes down to zero very, very quickly in a house fire. And people need to understand that, you know, you're not able to see everything. So you have to have a plan where you can get out and know how to get out without being able to see, which is a very different challenge.
All these different things to
Absolutely.
consider when these fires are happening in one home versus another. Dave, we appreciate you joining us. We got to move on. Thank you so much for telling us more about these tips that everybody, individuals and families living in our communities, can take each and every day. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for the opportunity. We'll see you guys.
Glad to have you on. Dave DeBoer, Deputy Fire Marshal with West Bloomfield Township. We'll take a break. On the other side, we'll get the latest information about some traffic news and information here in Oakland County. Our traffic fatality numbers, how do they compare to state and national levels? And we'll check in with Craig Bryson from the Road Commission for Oakland County about the latest on the construction on Orchard Lake and Commerce Road. Stay tuned. You're watching and listening to The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
1 in 4 Michigan homes has high levels of radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas known to cause lung cancer. It doesn't matter where you live or what type of home you have. You won't even know it's there unless you test. So don't wait. Testing is cheap and easy, and if there's a problem, it's simple to fix. Visit michigan.gov/radon to learn more.
We took action. Will you?
Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV. And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. I'm Tyler Kieft, also joined by Dayan Chaaban on today's edition of the program. The biggest story throughout our local area right now is the construction project ongoing on Orchard Lake Road as well as on Commerce Road, all throughout the heart of the Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and Orchard Lake community. Joining us now for the latest updates on this is Craig Bryson from the Road Commission for Oakland County. Craig, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, glad to have you on, as this is an important topic for residents, particularly in Keego Harbor and Sylvan Lake, which is where the bulk of this project or these projects are really going on at this time. So for those that aren't familiar with this project, what is the ultimate goal on Orchard Lake and Commerce Road with what's currently going on construction-wise?
Yeah, so this is both a safety improvement and a resurfacing project. So we're resurfacing the entire section from Commerce Road over to Middle Belt Road, but we're also reconfiguring it. Right now, as you probably know, there's 2 lanes in either direction. We're changing that to add a continuous center left turn lane, and then there'll be 2 lanes to the westbound, southbound route and 1 lane northbound, eastbound, which is a huge safety improvement there. We've long had a concern about rear end collisions in that section. people stopping to turn left in a through lane, getting rear-ended. This should dramatically reduce the number of rear-end collisions in that area, improve safety, make it easier to turn left into the businesses or neighborhoods along there. And then, of course, a completely new road surface, nice smooth surface throughout that section of road.
And the timeline kind of lasts through its beginning of this project last week, a little bit delayed, and then going all the way through just after Labor Day, if all goes well and there's no other further delays. Craig, as I mentioned, this project had started a few days later than was expected due to weather, but as we're at where we're at right now, is that project still on schedule to be completed where that estimated time was originally placed?
Well, it is on schedule, but the completion of the full project is not until November. The Labor Day date is the closure, the end of the closure of the section of Orchard Lake Road from Commerce South to Rycroft Street. So that should be done before school starts, by Labor Day at the latest. Commerce Road is still on schedule. We're looking for that to reopen around early August, which is what we had originally planned. So that part is on schedule. The larger project itself, going all the way over to Middle Belt, will be under construction till probably October, November period.
So where are we at right now in that project in terms of what is currently being done, and where can our communities expect this project to, or how can we expect this project to progress in the next couple of weeks, Craig?
Right, so we're doing a lot of work right now at the Commerce Orchard Lake intersection and just south of there, which is why we have those two closures in that area. There's a lot of drainage work that's being done in there. There had been some flooding problems there. We're trying to resolve that, as well as reconstructing the section from Commerce Road south to Rycroft Street. So that is taking place right now. For the duration of the project, the biggest thing for people to know is that Orchard Lake Road will remain open to two-way traffic. There'll be one lane in either direction. There'll be access to all the businesses. There'll remain access to all the businesses, all the homes and neighborhoods throughout that section. We'll be shifting at one point from doing the outside lanes to the inside lanes, vice versa. But for the most part, the biggest thing to know is that there'll be two lanes open, one in each direction throughout the duration of the project.
Awesome. So regarding, I was telling Tyler earlier today about these incredible projects and how Oakland County has been committed year after year to becoming one of the nation's lowest fatality traffic rates. So I was wondering, how do these ongoing construction projects in Orchard Lake contribute to that?
Well, that's a great question. This project is a perfect example of that. And that is the entire reason we're doing this reconfiguration from 4 lanes with no center turn lane to 3 lanes with a center turn lane. A center turn lane is a far safer design for the road. As I mentioned, we've had a history of rear end collisions there because there's no turn lane, because people have to turn left from a through lane. Putting in the center left turn lane will make that a dramatically safer road, should greatly reduce the number of rear end collisions. And that is part of what we do. Every time we review a road section for a potential project, we look at potential safety issues. And that was something that jumped right out at us on that section of Orchard Lake Road, something we've been wanting to address for a long time. We wanted to have input from the communities, the businesses, before we moved ahead with that. We did a lot of planning on this one. So that is a huge safety improvement. And again, that's our number one motivating factor when we select projects, when we design projects, and eliminating those rear end collisions on Orchard Lake Road will really enhance the safety of that entire section of the county.
That's incredible. I'm sure that Oakland County will still remain one of the lowest traffic fatality rates. It's not only in Michigan, but also nationwide. Are there any concerns or challenges that need to be addressed further to continuing to reducing those fatalities in Oakland County?
Well, it is a constant challenge. And there are, of course, financial limitations to what we can do. There are places where we'd like to do projects, but they're simply cost prohibitive. But we're constantly reviewing all of our roads. We study crash data. We're one of the first road agencies in the country to really delve into crash data. We look at all the police reports for all the crashes in the county, study them, look for trends, look for patterns, look for areas where the crashes are related to the road as opposed to driver error. And anytime there's something we can do, we try to move that into a project, whether it's sometimes just something as simple as improving sight distance or completely reconfiguring the road as we are here on Orchard Lake Road. But that's something we do constantly. We've established a safety culture here where all of our employees know that's the #1 priority. Anytime we address, whether it's maintenance activities or selecting road construction projects or seeking funding, it's all safety driven and data driven. And that's really contributed a lot to our traffic fatality rate being as low as it is in the county.
That's truly incredible, and it's great that you put that out there, because probably not many people know that it is data driven. That's incredible work that you guys are doing there. One more thing, you said that you're doing your best you can with road security when it's not the drivers, but when it is the drivers, how can we contribute to educating them, or what are safety practices that they can do?
That's a great question, and that's a constant and ongoing challenge. We try as much as we can through all of our communication efforts, through our website, brochures, social media, all those things, to educate people on both safe driving practices and what to look for on the roads. Distracted driving is, of course, a huge issue. We appreciate the fact that the state legislature and the governor recently made it illegal to drive with a cell phone in your hand. We think if we can get drivers to focus on the road and the traffic around them, that'll be a big thing. We unfortunately have seen in recent years a significant uptick in distracted driving crashes, and the more we can do to get people away from that, the safer the roads will be. And we've seen a big uptick in crashes during COVID. One of the downsides of COVID, unfortunately, was we saw a great reduction in traffic when people were working largely from home. And unfortunately, some people developed bad driving habits during that time when there was less traffic on the road. We're trying now to remind people, that you have to be aware of the traffic around you. You have to obey the traffic rules and laws. And that will help us get back to a safer environment as well.
And so, Craig, as we wrap this up, I just want to kind of go back to a lot of what we're seeing being discussed in community forums from Keegle Harbor and Sylvan Lake and even other places about all these different construction projects that are happening in Oakland County and all throughout the state. A common theme that I've seen in these discussions is, I know that we want to fix the roads, but do we have to fix all of them all at once? Why maybe are we seeing so many construction projects happening all seemingly at the same time?
Well, and that's a great question. And it's, of course, when there's a construction project on the route that you drive on a regular basis, it may seem that way. The reality is we're never working on more than 2 to 3% of our total road system at any one time. So it really is a relatively small portion of the road system that's under construction. Of course, big projects like this Orchard Lake Road project do affect a lot of people, and it seems like that. In addition to which, there's the road commissioner for Oakland County, there's 40 cities and villages in the county, and there's MDOT, and all of those entities have projects on their roads. We try to coordinate those to the best of our ability, but sometimes there's funding issues where it's use it or lose it funding, and we end up having a lot of projects in the same location. This year, Novi and the southwest part of the county seems to be seeing a larger share of the projects. Again, we try to avoid that, but sometimes it's unavoidable. And that is the downside. The roads desperately need repair. We neglected them for far too long because we were underfunded. Beginning in 2017, we saw an increase in funding. We committed to putting the vast majority of that new funding into the road surface, and so we're doing that now, trying to fix as many roads as possible. That means there are more road projects than there were prior to that increase in funding. And unfortunately, we have a limited road construction season in Michigan, so we have to pack them all into the spring and summer and try to get as much done in that season as we can. So that concentrates it as well. So it's a challenge, but it's a necessary evil to make our roads better.
And that is the big thing here, is making our roads improved and improving, of course, those safety factors, too, to keep Oakland County some of the safest roads in the state and in the country. Craig, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you as always. You guys do a great job.
Appreciate having you on the program. Craig Bryson from the Road Commission for Oakland County, the latest on the traffic situation in Keagle Harbor, Orchard Lake, and Sylvan Lake on Orchard Lake Road and on Commerce Roads. Appreciate him joining us. We'll take a break on the Splash Live on the other side, get a little bit away from the traffic and enjoy some relaxing community fun and music with the Still Sunsets concerts coming back on Thursday. After the break, we'll talk to a couple of individuals involved in those concerts each and every week. Stay tuned. You'll want to see that interview after this break. You're watching and listening to the MegaCast.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Ronnie started doing prescription pills at the age of 15, and by 19, he died. If your child is struggling with drug use, try not to be too proud to reach out for help. Don't be worried about what the neighbor will think or your family. Just get your child the help they need. Sometimes it's the hard road to take, but the hard road is nothing compared to living with the fact that your child is no longer with you.
There's hope and help at drugfree.org.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live. I'm your host, Tyler Kieft. You can always join us Monday through Friday at 8:30 for our live shows, and all throughout the mornings, afternoons, and evenings for replays of this program. Learn more about everything happening in the greater West Bloomfield community. Well, it is the summer season, and during the summer, one of the favorites for people in our community to enjoy is music outdoors concerts all throughout the community. And one of the best of those concert series is the Still Sunsets concerts, returning Thursday this week at 7 p.m. as they do each and every week. Different artists all throughout the summer, but perhaps the biggest star of the entire show is its MC, the Spirit of Sylvan, as they call him, Christian Mikey, who joins us now on the program along with his mother, Jenny. Thank you both for being with us today. Christian, you're looking great.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, glad to have you on, Christian, over here, all looking very dapper this morning. It looks like he's coming for my job, and you know what? I've heard a lot of good things about him. Won't be long before he's taking over right here on the Splash Live. Let's begin with Christian. Christian, you are a big fan of entertainment and acting and being on the stage. Being an entertainer, that really is your passion. What do you enjoy most about being an entertainer?
I enjoy making people happy and laugh.
And Jenny, for you as his mom, when did Christian first show an interest in entertainment and being in front of an audience, interacting with people? When did that really begin?
I would definitely say it was around 3 years old. His older brother was in a play, and the whole musical aspect as well as acting just really sparked an interest.
And what about your son makes the stage or being in front of the camera kind of that perfect outlet for his very vibrant and sunny and optimistic personality that we can clearly see?
Christian truly likes to make people happy, and he has a great imagination and a stage presence. He's never shied away from being the center of attention or for getting up and speaking in front of other people. He's been a part of Open Spot Theater, which is a special needs group theater. He's been doing that for years, and it just seems to be an outlet that he thrives in.
Joining us on the program is Christian Mikey and Jennifer Mikey on today's edition of the Splash Live. Christian is the MC of the Sill Sunsets concert series, which continue this week Thursday at the Sylvan Lake Community Center. The concert begins at 7 o'clock. Christian, tell us more about your special role with the Sill Sunsets concerts.
I get to welcome everyone and introduce the talented singers.
And he is the guy that you will see before every performer, before anybody takes the stage, in between all the shows. He is there. Christian is the one that is truly the star of the show. Jenny, as he has been taking over this role and he has been the MC of these concerts, what's the community response been like towards Christian, and how does he add a different energy to these concert series?
Well, we're very blessed to live in this wonderful community of Sylvan Lake, and the response to Christian has been overwhelming as his parents. He is accepted, applauded, and he's starting to make some lasting friendship. Everyone knows him, and it's an amazing comfort for my husband and I to have this safe environment for Christian to thrive in. He takes emceeing very seriously and practices all week for the next upcoming show to make sure that he's ready to introduce the band or singer.
My favorite thing about Christian is he is versatile. He can MC a concert on one night, get on the stage, and play a completely different role the next night. Christian, for you, what do you enjoy most about being the MC of these concerts? How is it different from some of these other entertainment opportunities that you take?
I like to help people get excited for the show and hear them clap.
Yeah, and seeing that interaction from your neighbors too has to be a big factor. That Jenny, how do you notice that also energizes your son as he's emceeing this show and brings him even more into that role as the concerts go on?
I think that he truly enjoys, as he said, help to get the crowd excited. For me, we have just noticed so many people have enjoyed seeing him get up there and improve every time. And he likes to have that job of getting everyone excited about it. And he's also been pulled up by multiple singers to come and maybe play the tambourine for a song or something like that. So it's just been amazing that the community accepted him to be part of it because it's exciting for him.
Now, Christian is you've told me this, Jenny, he's into broadcasting, he's into entertainment, anything that puts him on a stage or in front of a camera. So Christian, who are some of the people you look up to, actors, broadcasters, or others that maybe you try to model yourself after?
I really like The Miz from WWE. And my favorite actor is Will Smith.
Will Smith is a great choice, and The Miz is a great character, also versatile in his own right. Very good choices. Jenny, Kelly Krause, one of the organizers of the concert series, she has often referred to Christian, as many others do in Sylvan Lake, as the spirit of Sylvan. What do you think? Why do you think that your neighbors and the friends in the community believe this about Christian? Why is he the spirit of Sylvan Lake?
Well, I truly believe Kelly Krause is an amazing person, and her vision and efforts created this Sylvan concert series that we've enjoyed summer after summer now. And Christian simply asked her if he could play a concert in her, in one of these, and thus the MC role was created. Many friends and neighbors have come up and said that, he is the spirit of Sylvan. He brings everything that is good in this world out. And I think that's an amazing compliment and a testament to how wonderful the people are here and how much he enjoys being a part of it.
Joining us on the program is Christian and Jennifer Mikey from Sylvan Lake. Christian is the spirit of Sylvan. He is the MC of the Sil Sunsets concerts. You can join them on Thursday nights, 7 o'clock at the community center and other locations throughout the city of Sylvan Lake for those concerts all throughout the summer. And Jenny, unfortunately, many people have misconceptions when it comes to the abilities or what can be done by kids, especially with Down syndrome, but even adults with Down syndrome. In the case of your son, a Christian, how does he defy those misconceptions while also being a great role model for other kids with special needs in Sylvan Lake and all throughout our local area?
Thank you for the nice compliment. I think that the misconception is that it's for all people with Down syndrome that they can't do. And really, truly, there's more that people with Down syndrome can do than anyone gives them credit for. And it's just about getting the acceptance to it and allowing them to do what they do best. He does more things that make him happy in the world, and that should be carried on for all of us. And knowing that so many people that do suffer through trying to do what they want to do and are met with a wall because of having special needs should keep fighting through that. Christian's dream is to be the first Down syndrome WWE wrestler, and that's what we're going to let him try and get to, as well as doing some acting or some broadcasting of that nature.
Christian, before we let you go, I did want to ask you about that dream. Your mom just told us about it. Give us your best flex. Show us how you intimidate those opponents in the WWE ring. There he is. The future star of the WWE, Christian Mikey, and his mom, Jenny, on the program with us. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Appreciate your time and appreciate you joining us. You can join them at the Sil Sunsets concerts every week all throughout the summer. More information can be found on Facebook in the Sylvan Lake What's Going On group or the Spirit of Sylvan group. You can also support the concerts through Cans for Concerts and other donation drives throughout the community by getting in contact with City Hall in Sylvan Lake, and they'll get you in contact with Kelly Krause and the team behind the Sil Sunsets concert. Such a great story from Christian in the community, and we're looking forward to seeing him Thursday night at the Sil Sunsets concert series. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. Plenty more to get to as we wrap up today's program. Diane and I will return after this short break. You're watching and listening to the Splash Live.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
When you have a gambling problem, you have a money problem. Don't let your gambling cause you financial hardship. If you or someone you love is struggling with gambling, we can help. Get free confidential counseling and win your life back. Learn more at michigan.gov/problemgambling.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dayan Chaaban. Dayan, a couple more stories to go through today. Just another minute or so left on the program. I want to take a look at this picture out of Sylvan Lake. The sunset says SUP in Sylvan Lake. Then SUP is an acronym for Stand Up Paddleboard. A really cool sunset picture out of Sylvan Lake from earlier on this week. If we have that and we can show that to the community. If not, we will move right along. That is the picture right there. Calvin, he brings that up in Master Control. Big thank you to Calvin Brown. Michael Ugrick from Facebook posted that picture from a stand-up paddleboard or a SUP board on Sylvan Lake earlier on this week. Diane, just a little bit left in the show, so I want to give you an opportunity to tell people how they can share those with us and maybe get their pictures on the Splash Live.
Yes, I would like to tell people that there's a lot of beautiful pictures to take around our county. So if you do have these amazing pictures, we would gladly share them on our social media. So please do follow us at Civic Center TV 15 on Facebook and at Civic Center TV on both Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you follow us, tag us on your beautiful pictures, or otherwise send them via DM, direct messages, and we can share them right here. So please do that. We can share our beautiful, beautiful county with all of us.
It's your opportunity to be the fourth member of our broadcast team with Dave Scott, Dayan Chaaban, and I each and every day. We appreciate you joining us. Plenty more news and information all throughout the day and all throughout the week. This has been The Splash Live.